underneath the sand that's just been sanded over. And, their supervisors just tell them straight up, don't worry about it. All you're doing is taking a little bit off the top. You're leaving the rest there. Well, what the heck do you think is going to happen? Check out the Intel Hub. The Intel Hub has a video up right now of one of those people that have spoken out. I mean, puts his life on the line. I really commend the guy for doing so, for giving us that type of insight, because it's so rare and so hard to come by as far as the information flow coming out of, unless you see it on the mainstream. So it's something to see. You got something to add there, Henning?
Yeah, it's not over. Well, B is still gushing out oil and volcanic material. They cannot cap that one. That's final. It's coming from the magma itself. And how are you going to contain that with a 1-inch hose down there and some dispersant?
Right.
It's not going to help anything. It's just going to make the problem even worse. And it is going into the aquifers, as Griffith is talking about, because they're trying to cap it, right? They have been trying to do that. But the pressure is so high, so the casing of the drill itself has ruptured. So now it's searching the weakest point, and that is the sediments and the layers which is lying up along the coastal slope into the southern part of North America. And it's a done deal. They can't do anything about that situation.
Now, Dr. Prepper, you've got a different view on bugging out and relocating, don't you?
Absolutely. The last thing I'm going to do is leave the hundreds of thousands of dollars I've invested in my home, in my shelter, in my land, in my gardens, in the food I have in my basement. Everybody knows where I live. You can look me up on the internet. You can find out where I am. I run the same risk everybody else does in the public eye. They can find out who you are, where you are, and how to get to you. It's a risk I take for being who I am. I don't like doing this. I don't like being on the radio. I don't like talking to people and telling them they're wrong, or telling them that they should do something they probably don't want to do, but I'm doing it because I'm supposed to. I'm old enough, been retired 10 years. I have been retired 10 years. I'm back for the last year and a half because there were so many things going wrong. I just felt that it was time to tell it like it is, to use some seasoned and reasonable discussion. I think the last thing you want to do is leave your home. If it's in the wrong place, then maybe that's something you need to take care of as soon as you can. If bad and people have told me, well, I have a bad location. Well, that was a choice. Make another one. Get another location, whatever it takes, if it's that important to you. If it's not, don't worry about it. I think that keeping my home intact is the smartest thing I can do. It's not a matter of hanging on to my investment. It's where everything, if I bug out, how much can I take with me? And if I bug out too late, how will I get there? And by the way, where am I going to bug out to? Where will I go? All my money's invested here where I am, and I don't have a lot extra to put into something else. And living in the woods, if everybody had a 3-day kit and were told, and they left town immediately, each person took to the next empty tree, how far out in the woods would they be before it stopped? And for heaven's sakes, all those rabbits and squirrels they were going to kill, and a deer, and eat up, and eat out there in the woods, all those dreams. Talk about phony dreams. Talk about living in your head. Do you think the animals are going to stand around and just watch and say, oh, well, maybe if I hang around here long enough, somebody will shoot me and eat me for dinner? And then, by the way, how many people going out with a 3-day kit and a gun for the first dead-gum time know how to skin a deer without poisoning the meat?
No, you're right.
Or what? I mean, where is this coming from? I heard on a show one night the guy was saying, get those 3-day kits because when it hits the fan, you've got to be ready to run. Well, honey, when it hits the fan, it's too late to run. Yeah. We've got to think this through, and not with desperation, not with panic, but with inspiration. Think it through. Figure out what you would do. Get some friends. Get a community around you. We've got clubs. We've got people at work. We've got church groups. We have all these resources. And we stand around with a finger up our nose trying to figure out what we're going to do next because somebody says, run for the hills. We say, well, we'll just run for the hills. I don't think that's very intelligent, personally.
No, you're absolutely right. And to be quite honest with you, Oh, go ahead, Henning. If you got a comment, go ahead.
Yeah, there's also another problem. That is, we people who are already in the club and know about this stuff, when we talk to other people about this stuff, they're looking at us like we have a ring in our nose. What are you talking about? You must be out of your mind. They don't believe what it is you're actually standing and telling them. They know there is a problem with the economy of the United States, but they don't think the problem is that big and the United States will recover. But there is absolutely no window that shows recovery. And that's
right.
how it is. And people really think like that. You must be out of your mind. Are you just some not conspiracy theorists? But we are not.
Mm-hmm.
We are not. We are trying to wake people up and present them with we have a big problem at hand. And it's getting bigger and bigger, and suddenly the trap will snap.
Well, even so, Griff, conspiracy is not a bad word, is it?
No, certainly not. There's been a lot of conspiracies.
That's right.
What happened to Mr. Lincoln?
That was a conspiracy.
That was a conspiracy, and a lot of others too. I'm enjoying listening to the debate here and the conversation and the comments. I agree with Dr. Pepper. May I call you Pepper instead of Prepper? It usually comes out Pepper. I don't know that it matters.
I've been called names you won't believe, Griff.
If the city's on fire and everything is being destroyed and you can feel the heat on the side of your face, I think that's the time to run.
Sure,
but you may be running to another place that has more problems than the one you left.
Correct.
So running for the sake of running is really a bad idea. But if you're drowning or fire is burning your backside, then that's the time to make a move. That kind of thing. I don't believe the United States is coming back anytime soon. There is no recovery. There's no mechanism for recovery anytime soon. I'm thinking several lifetimes at best, and there's no guarantee then. The Alta, I believe, and I hurriedly skimmed it today, but the Alta is not optimistic, and I believe I'm correct in saying in 2018 a complete devastation in the United States. Complete. We're not a world power. We don't exist. That kind of thing is what I got out of the reading of it. So we're going downhill, and we have about, by the Alta chart, we have about 90 days, or a little bit less than 90 days, before the graph and the information goes straight down off the bottom of the page. So it's not a very happy future ahead of us. Joe, did you see anything about that in the Alta today? I know you hurriedly skimmed it.
I just hurriedly skimmed it, and again, it's very negative. And I'm going to read it a little bit more and see what else I can take out of it. But things don't look good. I mean, you can take the Alta, it doesn't look good. You can read the Bible, it doesn't look good. You can take a look at any of these prophetic texts, it doesn't look good. Things are not going to get better. I don't see it, and I don't. I mean, folks, open your eyes. Have you ever seen such chaos before in your lifetimes? I can think of no other time in my lifetime that I've seen anything like this. Now, Andrew, I know you had a question for the panel. Why don't you go ahead and lay it on out?
Certainly. Thank you. Look, I want to preface this with saying I woke up as a soldier when I didn't even know NORTHCOM existed. In 2008, when they put in infantry soldiers to use against the populace, that woke me up. And that was my first thing. But for whatever reason, I saw 2012 Native American Prophecy. I saw this whole huge picture. And a friend of mine, he told me some great advice. He's a very wise, very spiritual type person. He told me, don't focus in on one thing too much. Just keep stepping back and look at the bigger picture. And my question to everybody on the panel is this: regardless of what your religious beliefs are, do you personally see this as what the Bible calls the end of the world, what the Mayans call the end times, what all the prophecies say is the Native Americans would call it the end of the fifth great cycle? Do you see it as that? What do you personally make of all this stuff?
Go ahead, Griff. Start off on that.
Tough question.